Slop Rules is taking an under for Thursday Night Football. BMatt's taking a couple defensive touchdowns. And what the hell is eggnog? I hit the streets of New York City to find out. We are The Spread, coming to you live on Thursday evening. Let's run the tape. Welcome back to The Spread. As always, I'm your host, Matthias Wallman. Let's get started with some Thursday night football picks. No one better to bring in for the My OC Premium Roundtable than DeadPresPicks Matt McEwen and SlopRules John Highslop. Fellas, as always, got to tell you, sign up for My OC Premium, less than $1 a day. So basically like not getting a slice of pizza. You can get their unfiltered picks. Had some nice hits last night. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining the show.
Fired up, guys. Thursday night football, looking at a good slate. Got some winners for you, so let's get into it.
Yeah, nothing.
Nights.
Nothing quite like a 37-point total on Thursday night between the Jags and the Jets, and that seems a little unfair. Like if this was like 2 years ago, it would have been abysmal. These two teams actually have quite a bit to play for. They both can still make the playoffs, and it's not a crazy long shot. We'll start with what the spread looks like today. It's the Jets -2 as we currently stand. This is a trap, right? Like I don't know how, but the Jets are going to win this game, right?
I think so. I said last week, too, I was done betting on Zach Wilson after doing it for 1 week, but I'm doing it again. Yeah, I will be on the Jets tonight. I think the weather's going to play a factor, too. I think we're supposed to have some bad weather out there tonight. This game's like a rock fight. That's the kind of game the Jets win. These like low-scoring, ugly games. It's how they want to play. So I think the game script will favor New York. So I think the line's saying that. I don't think they're just giving us money here with the Jags at plus money. It's usually for a reason. So I'll trust Zach Wilson one more time. He's on his last straw.
Well, counter argument is Slop saying that he's robbing the books blind. So yes. I don't know which way we're going here.
Yeah. One or the other. It's one of them.
So let's get into the tail of it. Go ahead, John.
No, I said we're gonna be right somehow.
Yeah. I mean, something's got to hit, right? Something's got to hit.
Exactly. It's a good way to do it strategically.
Let's get into the tail of the tape here. You got the Jags at 6-8, the Jets at 7-7. Right now, the Jags getting 64% of the bets on the spread and 59% of the handle. The Jags money line getting 70% of the bets. These two teams have not been good at hitting the over, or hitting the under, I should say. 5-1 in their last 6 games are the Jags hitting the over. The Jets have now hit 4 in a row and 8-1 in their last 9. I know that's music to John's ears right now. We'll start with you, John, this time, because we've been hot on this show. We've hit our last 4 picks on the Morning Edge as well. You guys went 2 for 2 on Monday Night Football's edition. Definitely not the schmuck of the host. Didn't miss his bet. I guess that's the last time I'm betting on Aaron Rodgers. John, why don't you get us started? What do you like tonight?
I'll get some revenge for you, Matthias.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this, but I will say that I kind of like the under tonight. And but hear me out.
You being held hostage?
I'm going to tie it to a game. I'm going to tie it to a game on Saturday. I'm sorry, I'm going to tie it to a game on Sunday. One of those days. That way, it doesn't feel like you had the under. You kind of connected Thursday to Sunday. Because a lot of times, by the time Sunday rolls around, you forget that Thursday was even part of this week. You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, like they did play. So we're gonna include the Jets and the Jaguars. We're gonna go under, but I'm gonna do it at DraftKings where you can kind of move the line. I think you can move it everywhere, but I like DraftKings better because it's easier. I'm not all that smart, guys. So you take it. Yeah, spoiler alert. No, you take them under 41. And then you go on to the Sunday slate, right? I am going to bypass the Saturday. I do like the Eagles. See, Matt, I'm not an Eagles hater. I do think that they can win outright that game, so getting 5's kind of crazy. But the problem is I think that the line's going to go way up. Not way up, but like another point or so. So taking them right now feels kind of dumb, not knowing for sure that Hurts isn't going to play. I think as soon as they announce that, we're going to see that line go up a little bit so you can grab it then. But
Yeah, it seems like it, but it's not. It's still up in the air a little bit, apparently.
Exactly. So like, wait till he gets announced out. Wait till the day too. Like, watch, it'll just all the more Cowboys money comes in. So you gotta leave that one off. But there's another one though. The Dolphins on Sunday. I think they slaughter the Packers. I'm dead serious. I think they beat the Packers bad, and that's not just because I want the Packers to lose because of the Lions playoff bet. Has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't like the Packers. So there's that. But at the same time, the Dolphins weren't that bad the other night. Like they weren't that bad at all. Like they ran on Buffalo, and guess what?
They probably should have won that game, honestly.
Yeah, they should have won the game. So I mean, like you can run on the Packers. It's not like they're just they're great defense. Like you really can't throw on them. But I think Miami will still be able to do it. Cam Akers just ran all over him. Like he plays for the Rams. You know what I mean? Like how are the Rams running the ball? You know what I mean? Like they get behind. Everyone knows they can't throw. But now it's a different animal with the Dolphins. So I think the Dolphins roll them. If you tie them together with the money line, so just the Dolphins, just to win, you're looking at plus 141. So under 41 tonight. And then now we get to wait. We get to sleep for, I think, a couple days as winners. You know what I mean? Because, we're just waiting for the parlay to cash. Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, pretty giddy on Christmas morning. You're already coming in a winner. I kind of like that.
Yep,
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, interestingly enough, all that betting data, by the way, from before, according to BetMGM, 53% of the bets, again, go into the under, 59% of the handle. So most of the public likes the under. And apparently, so does John. Again, blink twice if you're being held hostage.
Yeah, I don't like the under. So don't say that. I don't like it. I think it's going to hit, but I don't like it. It's good. If you like money, then the under's fine. All right? But I'm just –
That's fair.
I don't bet. I
do like money.
All right, here's what we can do. We can think of it as it's an over on how bad Zach Wilson's going to be. How about that?
Okay. I can get behind that. What about you, Matt? What are you rocking with for tonight?
All right, so I'm going to get Travis Etienne anytime touchdown, plus 120 right now on DraftKings. We've been pretty hot on these anytime touchdowns as of late, but here's the thing with Etienne. He hasn't scored in his last 5 games. So, I mean, this guy is outrageously due to get into the end zone tonight. I think the conditions, again, will force a lot more running in this game than we see passing. Look, for bets like this, guys, all you need is like a 1st and goal from the 5, and you're usually sitting pretty. I mean, this is a Jets defense that has been tough against the run. They've been great in general. I mean, they've been really good against pass out. But they've been tough, but I think the value here is too good. They don't really have another back that they're going to put in the game. There was like early in the year, James Robinson was sprinkled in. They made the move. They actually traded him to the Jets. So now this is Etienne's backfield. I think at some point he gets in. You can use him a little through the passing game, not as much. I think if he gets in tonight, it's going to be via the run. But, he hasn't scored again since week 9. He had 2 against the Raiders. He only has 4 all season. So, I mean, half of his touchdowns came in one game, but yet the line only being plus 120 tonight. I think that's kind of indicative that they think Etienne will get a lot of chances, especially here in the red zone tonight. So, I like it. Still plus money, plus 120 here. I think we get good value, and I think at some point he gets in for the Jags tonight.
Shameless plug, by the way, on the OddsChecker grid. That is actually BetMGM's most anytime touchdown score at plus 110. But like Matt mentioned, it's plus 120. So make sure you're checking out our grid before you make any bet to make sure you're not losing value. I mean, you said enough of what I need to hear. I mean, he hasn't scored in 5 games, and he's the favorite to score tonight out of any player at plus 110, plus 120. I mean, the books know. I mean, he's probably getting in tonight. And that's been a trend. Running backs have been scoring in primetime games. Usually first, honestly.
Maybe we take
I like it.
First time or first touchdown too. Sprinkle that in. I think at some point we'll find his way.
It could be the only touchdown.
True.
Well, then I would lose my Jets bet though. You know what I mean? Then that's not fun. Then I would.
Not if they're like 4 field goals. Well,
that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
19 to 10.
For the love of God, I hope we don't see that. Or just like the classic Seahawks Rams game from when Jeff Fisher was there, where it was like 6-3 in overtime or something like that.
It's gonna be a stupid game, I'm telling you.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to provide entertainment because it's gonna be a stupid game.
Game. Not great.
Matt, I'm glad you brought up the first time touchdown because that's actually a perfect segue into a segment we like to call Back or Fade the Public. We give you BetMGM's 3 most popular bets for tonight. and then these two guys tell us which one they're rocking with. So as we've kind of mentioned, Travis Etienne, anytime touchdown is one of the 3 most popular at plus 110. But make sure you're heading over to our grid to get the best value. Etienne, first touchdown score is plus 550. And this is an interesting one. This has been a really popular bet I've been seeing. Evan Ingram over 40.5 receiving yards. What kind of sick world do we live in that we're trusting Evan Ingram to catch footballs? I don't know. It's twisted world. But out of those 3, which one are we rocking with? And let's play it interesting, Matt. Because you took Etienne to score anytime, you're not allowed to take that.
Okay, I'm not. So can I tell you which one I like the least instead? So
yeah, that's fine.
I love Evan Ingram's under on 40.5. Yeah. That's actually going to be one of my plays tonight. I just think the numbers inflated due to his past 2 performances. I mean, last week he turned into like Shannon Sharp. He had 150 yards. This guy's not that good, right? I mean, he's at one point last year, everyone was saying, he should be out of the NFL. Now, all of a sudden, I think people are overvaluing what he's been able to do. Again, this is a really good New York defense. I think the conditions are going to make it difficult for Trevor Lawrence to throw the football efficiently in this game. And, it's tight end. I don't see him getting these big breakaway plays. He might get in the end zone. I'm not saying that. They could use him in the red zone. But 40.5 here, I think it's too much. I'm seeing it all over Twitter this morning. I'm seeing it all over, the sports books like you mentioned. So I really like his under here at 40.5 tonight.
I really wish I had given my picks before this because that was one of my picks, and I would have looked really smart. But now I just look like I'm riding your coattails. Hey, we'll take it. That's what you guys are here for.
Yes.
John, what about you? Out of those 3, something you like the most or the least?
Well, I wouldn't do either touchdown just because those are like goals. Like you just play a game of dice with your friends if you're doing that. But anyways, now I would go the exact opposite. If anything, I'd roll with that over on Ingram. He's done that. He's had a run this year already where he had 40 plus in 3 or 4 games in a row. The only problem here's the thing.
For an under.
It's gonna be pouring rain in New York tonight. That's gonna be an issue. The thing is, though, the only reason I do like it is it has nothing to do with it being Evan Ingram, nothing to do with what he's done the last 2 weeks or a run that he had earlier. It's more the fact that the Jets stop wide receivers, like literally stop them. Like there's only one team in the NFL have given up fewer receiving yards to receivers this season. So they've got those 2 corners, the Sauce kid and I think DJ Reed's the other one. So they shut things down to where you got to kind of get creative. So that's where you might see a dumb spike game by a tight end or a running back in the pass game, something stupid like that, just because you can't get the ball to receivers. But since it's raining, it's tough to be like, taking over on a tight end, passing yards when they're inflated because 2 weeks in a row. So if I had to, if any of those 3 I had to, I would say the over on that. But none of those really look like, you have to bet them type things. You know what I mean? Like, So that's just what I think.
Well, one last thing, too, with Evan Ingram. He's playing in the same stadium as he did as a Giant, right? And he kind of sucked at the end as a Giant.
That's true.
Stadium
would suck.
Getting too.
I'm just saying, it could be. It could spook him out a little.
Yeah, I think it's just a little inflated, like you said, John. I think the Jets had hit the under for this line, I think 7 of their last 8 games against tight ends. And just Evan Ingram hadn't covered it for the 6 games previous to these last 2 blowups. But again, that other side of the brain that you bring up a good point that if you can't throw it to wide receivers, and Trevor Lawrence has been that good, the ball has to go somewhere, right?
I have a question.
Ingram or what? But
what position did that Lion play that scored that long game winner last week?
It was 50 yards.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. What position did he play? Do we know?
Fullback, tight end.
Tight end. I'm just saying.
I think it was his first catch of his career.
See what I'm saying? So anything can
doesn't
happen. So if anything can happen, I don't know that you want to be watching this game. Here's the flip side too. You're sitting down, you got your ticket in your hand, you're ready. All right, cool. I got the Evan Ingram under. How pissed would you be when he actually goes over? Because he stinks. You know what I mean? Like God, I can't even win an Evan Ingram under. So that's all I'm saying. Just watch out, guys.
Well, he's going to be in prison tonight.
That's true.
20 yards. That's what I got.
Well, I had you had that a couple weeks ago. You had the Devontae Adams one where you were like, don't bet the under, and then like his second catch was like a 40-yard catch. You're like, oh fuck, like,
but it stayed under. It stayed under.
Did that just happen? And then that pass last week though to that I don't even know his name. Baker maybe that random tight end that Matt, I think it was literally his first catch ever. It felt like it. And it goes 50. Like those are the things that happen whenever you can't get the ball to your receivers. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah. See that one. Like if Evan Ingram does that tonight, I'll
That's what I mean. Now you're on my side.
Yeah,
now you're on my side.
But the Jets might like have PTSD against tight ends. His name is Brock Wright, John. Brock Wright. Yeah,
Brock's a solid name right now, man.
I think he went to. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he went to Notre Dame. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I think he was a Notre Dame guy, so I can't even be mad at him. But they're gonna be well prepared tonight for the tight end. That's all they studied this week. Tight end.
Yeah,
last week.
That and Zay Jones apparently.
I benched it. Hope he doesn't go off tonight.
For tonight, I'm going Garrett Wilson over 56.5 tonight. I know it's Zach Wilson. But I think that finally ends up happening. I mean, it's not like the Jags exactly have the best pass defense in the world either. And I'm going Zach Wilson to throw an interception. I don't care that it's at minus 205. I'm taking it regardless. This guy sucks.
Feels like free.
Yeah, it's free money. Matt and John, really appreciate you guys hopping on the spread. As always, before you let them go, though, I do want to tell you guys about a big opportunity to watch a bowl game with these two guys. It's the Camellia Bowl. It's next Tuesday, December 27th at noon. It's coming up quick. It's the Buffalo Bulls and the Georgia Southern Eagles. I mean, you can't look at Buffalo and Georgia Southern and not be excited as is, but you get to watch it with DeadPresPicks and SlopRules. It's the Camellia Bowl. It's right here on Twitter as well. So make sure you're not missing it. Again, next Tuesday, December 27th at noon to watch the Camellia Bowl with these two guys. We're going to turn it over now to a little segment where I hit the street. I wanted to ask some people what they thought about the holidays and also kind of embarrass people. I asked them about what the 12 days of Christmas were at one point, and as you would imagine, not a lot of people knew any of them. Take a look. Matthias Wellman here from OddsChecker. I decided to hit Bryant Park before holiday time just to see how much people actually know about the holidays, what their favorite parts are, what they don't like, what's the most overrated. Check it out. Can you name the 12 days of Christmas?
Partridge in a pear tree, 2 something doves, 2 doves.
Okay. 8 maids a milking or something like that.
5 gold rings.
3 calling birds.
6 geese a laying.
There's more birds. I'm pretty sure there's more birds.
A lot of birds.
3 most overrated things about the holidays. Can be anything.
I think the idea of having to give a present is just overrated.
Taking random pictures, blocking the way, all that cringy stuff.
Tinsel? What's that?
Christmas food is really gross. Like mince pies, eggnog, they're gross.
Eggnog. It's weird. It's eggs in a drink.
You don't like it?
No.
Just sitting with your grandparents in the evening. Sometimes they can, they fall asleep and you're just sitting there like, oh God.
Christmas music.
Just the music, like hearing it on the radio, like got enough of it after like the third loop back around.
The Grinch. Maybe not a popular opinion.
My girlfriend and I, we don't give each other presents for Christmas. We just mutually don't. So I don't know. It's just a personal thing. I just think it's overrated. I think it's a money scheme.
Yeah, my boy's sleeping on the couch tonight. I don't care what he's saying. That I promise you, his girlfriend is not happy with him after seeing that clip. We do have odds here on OddsChecker. We unfortunately don't have odds for how long their relationship is going to make it. But alas, we are still in the gift-giving mood. So we figured we can give you guys $500 just for subscribing on YouTube. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button at OddsChecker US. And if you comment on any recent video that we put out at any point this month, you're automatically entered for a second entry. So again, subscribe for 1 entry and comment on another video for a second one. And we're also giving away $100 every single day on Instagram. It's super easy. You got to find the post in which we're giving away the $100 every single day. It's going to be a pin post. Find it. Follow our Instagram page at OddsChecker US. Again, it's not that hard. And all you have to do is comment on it and tag a friend. And if that friend follows as well, you have a chance to win $100. And even if you win $100 at one point in the month, you're not automatically exited to win $100 at the end of the month. But again, if you want to find that out, you got to head over to our Instagram page. We're going to end things now with Mr. BMatt, the anytime touchdown king. He's got your picks for tonight. Back on the spread, finishing out our episode as we always do with some touchdown props for Thursday Night Football. I'm joined as always by the anytime touchdown architect, Brian Matthews, aka Anytime Touchdown King, aka BMatt. Brian, appreciate you hopping on the show.
I always say it every week. Appreciate you having me on. Glad to be on here talking touchdowns.
Yeah, and like we say every week, there's not that many touchdowns to talk about. And, for any dedicated fans, every week, Brian and I talk about how there's always next week. We're going to get a game eventually. We're going to have good odds, good totals. It's not the case tonight. We got Jags and Jets coming to town. And look, both teams have a lot to play for. Both teams are, at worst, pretty good. But it is rainy in New Jersey. It is windy in New Jersey. And the Jets cannot play offense because Zach Wilson is playing Q for them. This game has a total of 37. Right now, the Jets are slightly favored, which makes no sense, which leads me to believe this is a trap. But we're here to talk about touchdowns. Brian, why don't you get us started with your first play for today?
All right, look. So you talked about the weather. It's well documented at this point that it's not going to be pretty tonight, right? So I'm going to stick on the ground. We'll go Travis Etienne, Jacksonville, first. Look, we know that Sauce Gardner and Reed on the outside, they've got some great cornerbacks, right? So, you're going to think in this type of game script, you're going to want to feed the ground game. Etienne actually looks solid after having a couple down weeks, going for over 100 yards last week. I think he can actually surprise. And look, when the elements are, like they're going to be tonight, a big run can be broken at any time. So let's go Etienne first.
Yeah, that's actually that was Matt McEwen's pick on the MyOC Premium Roundtable as well. He took Etienne. You can get him at plus 130 on FanDuel. He is actually the most bet on anytime touchdown scorer at plus 120 on DraftKings, which, of course, shameless plug. Make sure you're checking out the grid for every single game and every single prop so you're getting the best price. Brian, I do have bad news. I've been on a bit of a cold streak on our show, and I besides Taysom Hill that I hit a couple weeks ago.
Hey, there you go.
Had Travis Etienne as my first pick, so I don't know if that bodes well for you, but I'll leave that up to you.
I might need to pivot.
Yeah, no, it's not good, not good. I was between him and Zonovan, but I just feel like if you're giving up. I think Zonovan's around plus 160. Like at that point, I'd rather just take the surer hand there. Because I do think Michael Carter might siphon one away today. Who's number two for you?
Look, you just talked about it. I said we're sticking with the ground game here. Anytime you have high winds and rain, it normally is going to favor the run game and the very short pass game. So, Zonovan, that's my pick right there. Bam has looked good. A little bit of a limited workload last week, but he's off the injury report completely, and he's looked explosive when they've given him, 13, 14, 15-plus touches. So I expect that he'll see 15-plus touches tonight. They are favored right now. Again, we don't know how this game goes, but if the game script does work out that way, he should see a healthy dose of carries, and I wouldn't be surprised if he scores as well.
Yeah, I think, and Jacksonville does not have a good defense. That was well documented. I think the over of 65 hit in the Jacksonville Dallas game. But I think that tonight's the night that Michael Carter siphons a touchdown away, honestly. You can get him at around plus 350. I don't think Zonovan's a bad pick by any means. But I think between the short passing game and the fact that if you had the point total at like 25 tonight, I might take the under anyway. And we're seeing this one start trickling a little bit further down. About 65% of the public for DraftKings is taking the under today. Majority of the smart people are taking it. It's so obvious that even Slop is taking the under, which is a little worrisome. But yeah, I think Michael Carter might take it, but I can rock with Bam today.
Okay.
So who's your long shot for today? Because I think we both played it a little safe. I was thinking of going Garrett Wilson, but okay. I talked myself out of it.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go with a guy that has just had a career that has been up and down, but the last couple of weeks has been pretty good. I'm going to stick with the short passing game. Evan Ingram has looked remarkable the last couple of weeks. I mean, He's seen, 20-something targets over the last 2 games. He's heavily involved. And what I look at is the Jets are very good at covering the perimeter wide receivers. They're middle of the pack against tight ends. And this game already sets up for something where if you're going to pass the ball at all, it's more than likely going to be something short here. So I like Evan Ingram tonight. I'll go with him as a long shot. I've also got one more, after you go, just kind of a fun little something you got to do when the weather's like this.
I have a feeling we're gonna go with the same one. I'm not gonna go with a player. I'm gonna go with a couple of different players. I'm going with the Jacksonville defense.
All right.
Sounds like we got the same one, but I don't know, man. Anytime Zach Wilson is under center, it could be a dome and things be perfectly fine, and him not playing against any defense, and I'd probably still bet on him to throw a pick. But you're telling me there is going to be wind and it is going to be ugly and the Jets might fall behind and Zach Wilson might have to throw the ball. Jacksonville had a defensive touchdown last week. I don't know, man. This is too good to be true. I've already thrown money on Wilson to throw an interception at minus 210. So I kind of have to rock with the Jags defense. Never thought I'd be inside to out loud, but
I like that one, man. Look, I mean, now I'm starting to worry. We got a few of the same picks here. You told me you're on a cold streak. This might be the slump buster, man. I got a good feeling this might be the slump buster.
Okay, going through.
But look, my long odds play was going to be, hey, look, it's kind of juicy if you go ahead and parlay the Jaguars and Jets to both score defensive touchdowns. We've seen crazier things. It's sitting at about plus 6,000 with this kind of weather. You never know what happens. Plenty of balls end up on the ground. Scoop and score, pick six. You never know. So might be worth it in this kind of game.
No big deal. Little plus 6,000 odds for you on the parlay.
Yeah. Nothing crazy. Just a little sprinkle.
Brian, I wanted to ask you a question, if you don't mind if we pull the curtain back a little bit, because we've gotten a couple of questions over the last couple of weeks since we started this about just people trying to determine how they go about picking an anytime touchdown score, and obviously this is your bread and butter here. So, without divulging too much of your process, how do you kind of, or what number specifically do you look at? How do you kind of reach these final picks?
And so a lot of things kind of factor into what I look at. So I look at defensive rank against the position. That's important. I also look at recent performance from that player. And, I think kind of more importantly, you take a look at it and you say, all right, what's the game flow going to be? You have to kind of have a feel for the game and say, look, I think, a team is going to route, this team. So, they're going to lean on the ground game, and then that means the other team, they're probably going to pass the ball more. So kind of trying to figure, all right, so if I like a running back here, someone with the lead's going to get more opportunities, and if a team's trailing, a receiver's going to get more opportunities. So these are just some of the things you obviously want to go through, plenty of target shares, their end zone target shares, red zone snap counts, things like that. But, that's a good starting point.
Okay. And a couple other things. I have the DraftKings most bet on first touchdown score and anytime touchdown score up here. A couple of interesting names here. Tell me which one of these 5, I'll give you for both sections, you like the most or you like the least. For first touchdown score, Garrett Wilson is the top bet on guy, plus 950. Christian Kirk at plus 1,100. ETN at plus 550, Zay Jones at plus 1,100, and Bam Knight at plus 750. You've already talked about Bam Knight and Travis Etienne. Mm-hmm. What of those other 3 guys? Who do you like for a first touchdown score?
First touchdown score? I mean, Garrett Wilson out of those guys is probably going to be the best bet. I just look at the Jets defense, and if you look at the receivers that have actually beaten their DBs, it takes a rare group. So it's Justin Jefferson. I mean, he was held to under 70 yards receiving, but, he managed to get a touchdown. They make it tough for the opposing wide receivers. And so when you have weather like this, that's the side I'm going to stay away from on the first touchdown side of things. So, Garrett Wilson, is not only do I have him in multiple fantasy leagues, but, he's a whole lot better with Mike White at the helm. That's the only thing that kind of holds us back, right? It's like, all right, we want to play him. The talent is obviously there. And he was targeted 9 times. The problem is 4 of those were catchable balls. So, but I think as far as talent goes, go Garrett Wilson and get on the board first.
Yeah, he's plus 200 on DraftKings. I wonder what that would be if Mike White was at Q. That's probably looking at like a a 140, 150 line.
Hey, yeah. Hey, look, I mean, they weren't throwing to really anyone else last week, at least at heavy volume. So at least you can see they're trying to get Wilson the ball. But that Wilson deal.
Trying to get some of the ball does not cash our picks, unfortunately. I got one other question for you, because this is in the 5 most bet on guys for DraftKings. You have 2 receivers on there, 2 running backs, and then you got Trevor Lawrence at plus 500. I think sounds like you're kind of interested in that.
That's been one I've been on the fence about all day. Look, these are the kind of games where it's, a Zach Wilson or a Trevor Lawrence touchdown wouldn't surprise you. Yeah, they're not Jalen Hurts, but they've shown that they can move the chains. They can run the ball. They'll tuck it when they need to. So that's the thing with this type of game. I mean, you're really, it's kind of throwing darts here. You're kind of, taking different angles here, but you got bad weather and a bad offense mixed with, pretty solid defense. Things can kind of go any way.
We're not going to say it too often, but make sure you're parlaying the 2 defenses to score tonight, or grab a running back while you can, because I'm looking at my window, and it's going to get ugly at MetLife tonight. Brian, really appreciate you hopping on the show this week.
I appreciate you as always.
That's going to wrap it up for this edition of The Spread. Big thank you to BMatt, DeadPresPicks, Slop, everyone that came on for this week. A little announcement, we will not have a show next Monday. We'll be observing Christmas and the holidays in general. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We will talk to you all on Thursday, because we've got football to cover and bets to get to. Make sure you're keeping it locked on OddsChecker TV here on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Twitter. We have your picks for the entire Christmas break, if you want to call it a break, because our gambling picks do not sleep. We'll talk to you guys next week.